say welcome. I think I asked you about this when last year sometime.
Yeah.
Yo, and you've been betting me. You know ice queens. You know ice queens. Usually, I'm quite successful with them.
You have not been persistent enough.
Oh, okay, hard to get. I was like, you need to keep on pushing. You need to keep on, because I sent her a mess, and I'm like, I know she's got it, right? And then I asked for your number, and I took forever. Then I get the number, and then still, yeah.
I gave you the number this year.
Yeah, but then still, when I sent you a message, I think it was like another few months before you actually responded to me.
It's the inbox thing. It doesn't work.
Yo, it was tough.
Hey,
It was tough, but
But
maybe
I'm
that's
here
it. I'm not persistent enough. I need to go back to that high school type of knack,
Siyabonga.
you know, of just saying every single day,
I'm
girl,
here.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Well, anyway, Babalwa, we invited you to talk about marriage contracts and submission.
Yeah.
The specific topic that I like to speak about is marriage contract in marriages where there is a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
or a home executive. You know, I'm not sure what the modern euphemism is
Yeah.
for that, but we had a brief discussion about that, and I mean, I had my point of view on what it should be. I know that it's not something that most people would go into because most people would have two people working.
Yeah.
Right. And that's obviously a different type of situation, and it might need a different type of solution. But I do think that it is quite important for us to be able to have this discussion about traditional, if I can call it that, those type of relationships,
Yeah.
where man's at work, is protecting, providing, and ladies at home, she's nurturing, managing, etc. How to protect her, and also how to protect the family, etc., etc. So I think we'll start by basically just describing what marriage contracts are, the different types of regimes, etc. But before we get into any of that, let's just start with you.
Okay.
Like I've been saying in the beginning, I've been trying quite a long time. Just because I've seen you on Facebook, I've seen you have a presence, I've seen you have a gospel presence, etc. I'm like, I need to talk to this lady.
Yeah.
I need to talk to this lady. But yo,
It's been hard.
It's
I've
been
been
hard.
busy.
Yeah, you've been busy. You've been busy, you know. But finally, we've made it happen,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful for that. But let's just
I'm
say, you know,
glad.
who are you, what you're about,
So,
etc.
I'm Babalwa Kotana. I own and direct a practice in Pretoria Central. We specialize in family law. So I call myself a divorce attorney because I've been doing divorce since I've started practicing. I'm from the Eastern Cape. I'm a mom. I'm unmarried. I'm a Christian woman. I take pride in my work more than anything. I'm very passionate about families. Yes, I'm a divorce lawyer, but I'm very passionate about families and people staying together. Actually, to the contrary, because people believe that because we're divorce attorneys, we just love seeing people separating. And with me, it's not the case. Whenever I get somebody on my desk, I'm like, okay, is there a way that we can make this thing work? Can we save the marriage? But yeah, I'm passionate about what I do. We do other stuff as well. We do road accident fund and labor and injury on duty, but my main focus is family law.
Okay. And how long has your practice been up and running?
4 years now. Quite
4
small.
years. Okay. And this is what, Pretoria Towers?
Pretoria, yes.
Okay, no, we'll just put a link there in the bio.
Yeah, well, yes.
So we know where to find her.
Yeah.
You are also active on Facebook and other platforms. And said, we'll just give your details to Hector.
Yes, we do have, actually, the law firm and myself, we do have Facebook account and TikToks and Instagram and Twitter.
But when I see it, it looks like an Instagram account because it's just pictures of you every day. I don't know if you got the same thing there, Hector. If you look at the firm, you know it's Babalwa Kotana.
You just know because I'm there.
It's her.
You know.
You know. So that's what we see. That's what we
I'm
see.
gonna change that.
Huh? No. The thing is that you need a brand. And when you start a business, sometimes that brand is you.
Yeah.
Right.
And then most times you start, especially with law firms, you start alone, and for the longest time, it's just you. It's just you. Because you can study with other people, but you can never be 100% sure that they're here for the long term. But you know that you're there for the long term.
Yeah, you're there
So
forever.
that's why you just keep it there. It's safer.
It's like I say, you can't divorce yourself.
No.
You are married to yourself permanently, and whatever issues you have, you need to sort them out.
Definitely.
That's the way it goes.
Is.
No, but anyway, thanks for coming through. Glad to have you. One thing that we said we're going to start with is just anti-nuptial contracts. Whenever I'm doing them, people always have one thing in mind. They know that there's in-community of property, they know that there's out-of-community of property, and they automatically gravitate towards accrual system.
Yeah.
Right? There are obviously other regimes which for certain type of situations are better. And I know you're obviously a proponent of out and out of community of property, no accrual, etc.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think that maybe we can use this opportunity to make people aware of the fact that there's in community of property and there are other things as well. So if we can maybe just take turns on that one, just to go through the different types.
Yeah. So in South African law we only have 3, right? And I'm going to start with in-community property, which is the most common one. Everybody knows that. But now in-community property is in 2 forms, right? So we have in-community property where people go and sign in the civil, whether they go to the magistrate court or they go home affairs, whichever way they want to do it. That then they decide there that they want to do in-community property, right? And then we have in-community property which is recognized under customary law, right? Where a man or a woman goes and pays lobola for their partner, and then that automatically is in-community property. And people don't know this because what people do, they go and pay lobola, and then 3 months later, 4 months later, they're thinking they can come back and then want to do a prenup. Yes. They want to do a prenup. Now they're already married, so what are we going to do? And they want out, and I'm like, no, but you are in already.
Yeah.
Now we have to go and change the marriage regime in the High Court, which is another process and notice, costly and all. So people need to know that before you even pay the lobola, please go and consult with an attorney.
Yes.
So that you can have your prenup contract, so they can explain these regimes, so that you can choose the right choice for you and your partner. So it's that customary marriage and the civil marriage in community of property.
And the default is in community of property.
Yes.
So if you do nothing, you are in community of property.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have out of community of property with the accrual system, right? Meaning that we're going to speak very plainly in simple terms so that everybody can understand what we are saying. I hope people follow this easily. So you get married, you have a house, the other person has a car, and you have a prenup, you sign a prenup contract, and then you get into the marriage, right? The properties or the assets that you've had before you signed are properties that belong to an individual, right? When you dissolve the marriage. Anything that you accumulate during the marriage will then be divided between the 2 parties, right? So this means that when you guys get divorced, if I came into this marriage with a house, my house is not going to form part of the matrimonial assets, right? And that is a bit safe. It's okay. It's better than in community for me. But it also has, maybe when you go into details, it also has its disadvantages.
Yeah.
And I think marriage in community property or sharing of assets in any way, for me, I could be wrong. Maybe I'll be convinced today. I feel like it's just, it's a risk. It's a risk.
Yeah.
And there's out and out. So out and out will be out of community property without the accrual system. That means now each party is basically developing assets or accumulating assets for themselves, own benefits. You can buy a house wherever without your partner signing for it or consulting anybody in the marriage. You can have your own will for that matter, as against in community, because you can't have an individual will when you're married in community property.
Yeah.
So then out and out for me is a bit safe, for a couple of reasons, but I heard what you said the other day, which we will discuss, and maybe I'll take it into consideration if I marry a stay-at-home husband.
Yes. Okay, so he needs to. Okay, cool.
You know?
Stay at home. I don't be.
I mean, there are stay-at-home husbands out there, I think.
Would you be attracted to a stay-at-home husband? This is what I'm trying to find out.
Do you think I'll be attracted to a
Yo, I can just imagine. No, but I think that's an important point that you're raising, that to say it is one thing, but the practicalities of having a stay-at-home husband, you'd be like, wow.
It sounds like it's nice. You're like, oh, I'm going to work. When I come back, I'm tired. There's somebody
My
at
husband is
home.
there.
My husband is there. Hey.
And he's like, hello, honey, I'm home.
It's not-
I've cooked for you. And he's...
Some days you'll just find him there not having done anything. Or sometimes you won't find him.
Okay.
So-
I was thinking that, it might be something that you're not attracted to.
I'm not.
But it seems that
I'm not attracted to that. I'm not
he might be
attracted
up to other things.
I'm not attracted to any stay-at-home anything.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If my dogs could work,
Well, that's actually, I think what we can just add there is, I always firmly believe that men and women are equal, but we want different things. So the things that we want in you are not necessarily the things that you guys want in us.
True.
So whereas you might not prefer a stay-at-home husband, it doesn't mean that I would not prefer a stay-at-home wife. Right?
Okay.
Hector then will tell you that is my mantra.
Yeah.
Because I've got kids, we've got family traditions, we've got codes, etc. And having someone there that you are romantically, financially, familiarly, but legally connected to, instead of having an au pair or a nanny, is something that you just can't replace. And your kids grow up totally different because daddy's mommy and it'll always be. And they know that whatever happens, she's there.
But how does that work now in our, hoping that we're not going off our topic, how does that work in our society now, financial-wise?
Financial-wise, I had this discussion with you and two or three guys.
Yeah.
And I know that for most people, that might not be feasible because in order to live a decent life these days, you need at least 2 incomes.
Yeah.
Right. So in that case, it wouldn't work. But if you step up as a man, and you do what you do your absolute best in order for you to be able to afford that type of lifestyle, then I think it's an option. Because one thing that I see quite often is, I know we're both Christians, but like Muslim families, Jewish families, daddy's working 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
And mommy is working all days, but she's at home. She's doing the debt collection. She's doing whatever. And these are families with 5-6 kids.
Yeah, and kids go and study in the US.
Yes. And then you'll find that mommy's gotten a degree, a BA, economics degree, or whatever the case may be. She's not uneducated, but it's just best for the family for them to be structured in that particular way. But it does not work, as you alluded to, if you do not have the finances to do it. If you are making X amount of money and it's insufficient, then you need 2 incomes. Yeah. That's the way. Yeah. But if you can afford, like, who's that guy? Bill Gates. Does Melinda Gates work?
Well, I suppose she would, in the company, in a way, she would.
Yes, but then she gets to do the things that might be traditional wifely duties. So she'll be taking care of the social stuff. Yeah. She might be heading up Love Life. Yeah. She might be doing the charity work. She might be doing the socializing, etc. She's
but
doing
those are things for people with real money.
Yes, but you see,
the rest of us need to.
And then Tiger Woods' wife, did she work? She left with $1 billion, but so if you have it, why not? Why not? But for most people, I do agree with you that it might be a bit tough. Yeah. And it does take a lot of strain. It does place a lot of strain on the guys. But hey, if you want it, you need to make it happen. Yeah.
And it's a strain that maybe men are actually built for.
Yeah, we are built
Naturally.
for it, because
Naturally.
we have the ability to do more dangerous work. We have the ability to our hormones are more stable, if I can say that,
Yeah.
throughout the month.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, it's not to no fault of your own.
Yeah.
It does take
Yeah.
a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So we are built for that, and we're naturally competitive.
Yeah.
So go out there, do your best, and make it happen.
Yeah.
If you don't and you can't, please do not take anyone's daughter and tell her to stay at home.
This is why people don't like you.
No, don't take anyone's daughter and
This
tell her to
is
stay at
why
home.
people don't like you.
That's why people don't. But I think you're right. It's I would be upset as a father.
Yeah. If your daughter had to be in a situation like that.
I put her through varsity.
Where she's being told that we are equals, let's put 50-50 on the table.
Well, that's one. 50-50 on the table, maybe. But don't tell her to stay at home and then you are not pulling your weight.
She's suffering.
You're making my daughter struggle.
Yeah.
No, my friend. No, my friend. We're going to have issues.
You fetch her.
Yeah, you're going to have issues. You're going to have issues. So, but if she was to stay at home, back to the topic.
Yeah.
And roles are clear for both parties, then I would insist that it must either be with accrual or be in community of property. I do not think that it is safe for a woman to be in that type of situation.
And be out and out.
And be out and out of community of property, especially if you're thinking about, let's say, a 20-year type of marriage.
Okay.
Right? You're an attorney. You've been working for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you stopped working for 20 years, you can't just go back and then think you're going to be earning what you were earning, right? You're basically starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And while he has built all of these things, takes it, runs, gets himself a new girlfriend, new boyfriend, whatever the case may be, so it's not safe. I know you mentioned risk earlier, but I do not think it's safe for her to be in that situation as a stay-at-home mom and not be protected in this particular way. So accrual, certainly, at the very least, but if we can, in community of property, so that she can also have a say.
And you think that is safe?
Well, I think it's safe in the sense that I'm looking at the alternative.
Okay.
Right. The alternative is that if we are out and out of community of property and we've been married for 10 years, if I decide to leave now, and as a divorce lawyer, it doesn't take much to get divorced. If I decide to leave now, what are you left with?
Yeah. So what I get what you're saying, but within community, what I'd always say to people is, if you are married out of community of property, not in, because I have nothing to do with in. Mm-hmm. If you're married out of community of property, you can always have a will. You can always have family trust, where you can leave certain things to your spouse. If she was a stay-at-home mom, you can leave the house to her and the kids, maybe one car. You can be paying for certain things for the duration of her life. I've had a case, I kid you not. I was like, when I met with the attorney that that was representing the defendant, we sat down, we're like, what type of a divorce is this? The husband left the home, quite a beautiful, expensive home, fully paid, continues to pay levies for as long as she's alive, continues to make sure that the loan is clean, the pool is being cleaned, paying for her stock, what things, making the kid is covered for as long as the ex-wife is alive. So if people can be maybe a little bit kind to one another, if they are married out of community property, it still works.
But no, that guy he was very kind. He was very kind. Because you know what these American comedians say? They say, well, you are accustomed to having the lawn mowed, you are accustomed to having the pool cleaned, you are accustomed to having the Stockville money. I'm accustomed to certain things as well. But after the divorce, I am not getting any of those things. So why am I doing all of these things?
You're accustomed to what? To what she cooks?
No, I'm accustomed to what you cook. Let's say everything that she's cooking and everything that's cooking. I'm accustomed to. So
okay,
do I still have access?
Where's the producer?
Do I still have access to those type of things? No, but I do think that that also opens up a nice door that there are other mechanisms in place to make sure that everyone is fine.
Yeah.
Right? Family trusts are certainly something I think is very important.
Yeah.
Not just for the parties that are married, but also for estate planning, for children, for
Yeah.
posterity, etc.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing, or an important vehicle to also have.
I think that is something that.
But if people do not get to that point, and they are 22 years old, 23 years old, haven't really acquired much assets as yet, then I would suggest that you need to decide what type of marriage you're going to have, what type of relationship. Is it going to be stay at home? Are you going to be working, etc.? If you're not going to be staying at home, take it out and out community property, because then you're free and you're both protected from each other,
I hear you.
If you're going to stay at home, you really need to try to give the lady a share, or the husband in your case, the lady a share in
Don't do that.
in the labor. What the communists say, that there's exploitation of labor. Then you are at home, you are doing all of these things, but you're not getting the benefit of it.
Yeah.
But if we have this community of property, you actually do get the benefit of your labor as well. Like I explained to you last time, that the benefits that a man gets from having someone at home doing all of these things, right? And I mean, people think stay-at-home moms just cook and clean and stuff like that. For 8 hours of the day, there's no kids here. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot of other things to do. Yeah. Taxes. That's what they do. Making sure that debt collection. That's what they do. Running
they basically do the administration.
Yeah, they
and
do
it's a
all
lot.
of that. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. And that sometimes for some families, especially where the men are corporate men, would include scheduling certain traveling days and bookings and
bookings, making sure we have the dinners, making sure that we entertain the right guests, making sure that we have the right social events.
Knowing the people that their husband is working with, what they do. And
so it's a full-time job, and you need to benefit from that. And because of that, he certainly benefits. Because she's doing all of these things basically free of charge. But you did mention one of those judgments where it said, if you are married out of community of property, but you are doing these things, you need to be compensated for it.
Now, the court then made that decision to say that for the proof, the evidence that the wife could bring, it was in the Pretoria High Court, for the proof that the wife could bring, she then must be compensated for that, even though the marriage was out and out of community of property, because now the man has now been this multimillionaire, and she had played a huge role
in making that
happen, in making those business meetings and functions and everything work, in sometimes attending certain things, whether it's a viewing or what, but that if I attend a viewing for you and you can't be there and the person buys that because I was there to make sure that it's happening, I am putting money in your pocket.
No, certainly.
Exactly.
So that's what's there. They are a lot more valuable than just raising kids.
When they have the right mind.
It's the right mind. But I think if you are, probably 10 to 31 women, it shows that even when she was not busy with kids, etc., she went out to go and buy vineyards and stuff like that, because it's all about building. Yeah. It's all about building, and you are building in a different way, but you are still contributing.
Yes.
I think people, maybe with slay queen or side chick culture, that you just need to be there, be pretty, cook when we show up. Yeah, that is not
everything.
That is not even 5% of the story. There's quite a lot to be done. But one thing that we need to basically address also is the perception that comes with ANCs. So my experience is that if ladies have a lot of assets, they would suggest ANCs.
Do you think that's why I'm such I don't
No, not you necessarily. My experience as a notary public is that's when the idea would come up, right? Yeah. But guys generally, if they suggest it and the lady does not have all of these assets, it might be seen that, are you trying to say that I'm a gold digger?
Yeah.
You know, are you trying to protect yourself from?
And that's a society issue, and it is something that we need to work around in our communities, whether in our churches, whether in our social cycles. But it's definitely something that we need to work around, because then it speaks to what people are thinking and the perception of what is out there in public, and it's the wrong one, right? Because I've had a client that came to me, asked for advice before she got married. And I advised her and I said, okay, so because I already know that your husband is owing roughly 200,000 rand at the bank, marry out of commuter property, right? She didn't have a lot of assets, right? But she had a secure job, smaller than a car at the time. They had not bought a house. He had this debt. That was the biggest thing that he had, right? So I'm saying to her, don't do it. And he said, why not? Is it because, playing that blackmailing card? Because of this? Are you going to leave? Are you planning to leave? So I get what you're saying. When people don't have, they want in commuter property. Because, again, that's why I'm against it. It's not a money-making scheme. Marriage is not a money-making scheme. And I feel like people go in it with that idea that if we break up and it's in, I'm cashing out. And that should not be the case. People should be kind to each other, whether they're married out of commuter property or out of commuter property with the accrual system, because we cannot consider in commuter property, right? So she then, when they were getting divorced, she suffered that. Even during the marriage, they couldn't buy a house because
of this.
There's this huge debt because they're married in commuter property, right? And the marriage didn't work, and she's still left with the debts, and it's hectic. So why people are still doing it, I don't know. But I get what you're saying. When a woman doesn't have money, she will fight it. That why do you say we should be married out of commuter property? And the guy would try to explain it. No, because I'm a businessman, assets, whatever. She wouldn't get it. I know some people would say, let's rather not get married.
Wow. Because of that.
If it's out, let's rather not get married. That time she's walking in with her Brazilian weave.
That's it.
And her nails. That's it.
Yeah. No, but I think it also comes down to choosing the right person. But I think that's perhaps a topic for another day.
Yeah.
However, the perception is certainly that as a guy, protect yourself, get a prenup. Kanye West even said it when he was still saying that we want prenup. Yeah. Don't we have a short like that, Hector? We want prenup. We want prenup. So you need to get a prenup. But after our conversation, I actually had a change of heart. I actually moved a bit away from in community of property to perhaps accrual.
Why?
Because of the risk going the other way. So, for instance, say I'm married.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm busy with businesses, etc. And it so happens that I get involved in litigation or whatever the case may be. That debt and that liability will then affect both of us, the entire family. Whereas if it was out of community of property but with accrual, she's still guaranteed in sharing if we do get to the point of divorce or death. Yeah. Right? But during the marriage, she's still protected from my dealings.
Yes.
And I'm also protected in the sense that I have the right to make donations.
Yeah.
And I know that they'll be safe on this side.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm taking the risk that, she might run off with them. Right. But
especially when there's kids, I always say that, when there's children, out is safer. We see a lot of these things happen where a lawyer, because our field is quite hectic, where a lawyer has stolen money and he's being repossessed for 38 million. It goes to a point where if their wife's ring is worth something because of that, they take it. Right? If the child's Louis Vuitton bag can be sold. Now, this affects the kids as well. It affects the entire family. It's not just about you. The risk affects everybody. And both parties, before they go into the marriage, need to be in a clear head, not in a love bubble. They need to have a clear head as to what if. I'm not saying I don't love you. I'm not saying I don't want to spend the rest of my life with you. But what if something happens? What if things don't work out? What if something hits us? What if COVID-19 hits again and I can't pay my bills? And you are the only person that doesn't have debts in this house. What do we do with it? Do they take the house because you insisted that we must marry in communal property? What happens to the kids?
I think what's important then maybe is these other methods that we also discussed briefly last time of if you are married in community or out of community of property, always consider also having a family trust.
Yes.
So that regardless of what happens to mommy or regardless of what happens to daddy, we know that there's some continuity of assets. And the trustees will then at least take care of the kids. Because you can get a divorce from each other, but you can't get a divorce from these kids.
Sure.
Right? And you make those contributions, and if you are in that financial position, you could eventually grow it up to a point where it will take care of them, right? Regardless of what happens. Either one just for the kids, or one for the entire family, or like one for your spouse, like this gentleman that you were speaking about. But people should just be aware that there are other options available.
Yes.
It's not just that we must get married, get lobola, and then we'll see how it works out.
See.
No.
We'll just see what happens. If it works, it works.
So in our mails to clients that approach us for antenuptial contracts, we always say, listen, congratulations, but this might be the most important contract that you're entering into in your life, because it's something that deals with your day-to-day.
Exactly.
It's something that deals with your risks. It'll affect how you do your business. It'll affect how you're employed. It'll affect how other people deal with you,
which is
what
important.
you can buy, etc. Yes, it's very
important, because why do you want to get into another thing about in community property? People just get in there. They don't even know what they're getting into.
She hates in community properties. Babalwa does not want in community at all. Okay.
People get into in community property without the knowledge of what they're getting into.
Yes.
If you're getting into, that's what I like about the prenup contract. You know what you're doing. I mean, why would you want to jump into a pool of water when you don't know what's in there? Right? Because on the surface, it looks like it is still, but you don't know what's inside there. But if you are getting married out of community property, you have a contract that actually details what will happen. How are you going to conduct your marriage? If this happens, what is going to happen? So you know exactly what you are getting into. So why jump into a pool of water when you don't know what's going on?
Maybe that's one thing we should just touch on, that when you're married in community of property, there are some things that you can't do alone.
Yeah.
And there are some things that would require consulting your spouse, some things that would require spousal approval, etc. Right? I'm not going to go into detailed lists of them, but it's important to know that once you are in community of property, there are some things that you'll need your spouse for, even if they are business things.
Exactly.
Right. So, for instance, when you are dealing with sale of shares, etc., we'd obviously put in a warranty in the sale of shares agreement saying that you have got the permission from your spouse to sell these unlisted shares, right? Very important. But if you're out of community of property, you don't have to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I after our conversation, I veered more to out of community of property, but with
I'm happy that I preached a good word.
No, you're preaching, but it just shows an open mind. It shows an open mind that it is something. It is something that when you discuss it, you must have that open mind and actually look at what's best for you, even though it might not sound the best. You know, it's very romantic to say, baby, what's mine is mine.
Yeah,
what's
it's
yours is
very
yours.
sexy.
We are
Thing.
together.
Yeah, we're together.
We're in this, you know, it's beautiful. Yeah, you know, it's all those beautiful things, you know, that it's together forever, no matter what. But the practicalities of day-to-day is quite different. Because now we're together forever. You are in a coma. I need to buy a house.
What happens?
Now I need to appoint a
curator. Now you have to go to the High Court.
You see what I'm saying?
Wasting more money from the estate.
Yeah, just for me to be able to sign this, you know?
Why do that?
Whereas I could just go on.
I hope people can listen to this podcast and not marry in community property.
No, we need to be talking. But, you know, sometimes the slay kings and slay queens, that's what they're after, you know?
Yeah.
I once met one, had a...
Slay queen.
Yeah, slay queen.
How long did you date her?
No, I
I'm
didn't.
kidding.
No, it wasn't my slay. See, now you're making me hit
I'm
my
kidding.
Sorry, no, Slay Queens. No offense, Slay Queens, but
Yes.
not my thing.
Yes.
No, so she said that she wanted 50,000 rands a month, just for hair and nails and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
This is maintenance.
yeah, but it's not maintenance in the sense, because I asked her, what's the 50K for? Are you going to be taking care of household necessities and stuff like that? She said, no, it's my allowance.
Okay.
Right? He still needs to take care of the house, needs to take care of everything else. This is just money that I get to spend however I want.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting.
over and above all these other things that she's doing. I was like, yeah, girl. For me, just the accounting of all of that just doesn't make sense. I just don't know what you would spend all that money on.
No.
As a 23, 24-year-old girl.
And what was the explanation?
The explanation?
What did she say she was going to spend the money on?
No, she just said that's just what she needs. She's going to spend it on hair, on nails, on keeping herself up, sending money to her mom, friends, stuff like that. Okay. It's just nice time, man.
Okay.
You know?
Wow.
So, and if they do get married, it must be in community of property. It must be.
Okay.
Because otherwise he might find someone else and then leave with all the stuff that she's contributed. Oh, yeah, and she also said one other thing. She said that she needs that money to feed the snakes. What snakes? There's apparently snakes that you buy that stay in the house.
Who buys it?
That
Pets?
I'm not sure if they're pets, but they are magic snakes. And as long as you feed the snakes, money will come into the house.
Who's going to buy them? Is it not supposed to be the husband who buys the snakes, guys? I think it has to be the husband that buys the snakes. But
she is responsible for feeding these snakes. And if she feeds the snakes, the money keeps coming. But if she does not...
Whose snakes are these?
I don't know.
This is what she told. Are they going to share the snakes? Or who's taking the snakes?
I don't know. But the money comes to him. But she said that there are snakes. And I was so shocked. She said, no, it's a thing.
Yeah,
a lot of entrepreneurs and stuff. You know?
Yeah, business people are... You know, I'm always very skeptical to date people that have a lot of money. Because of everything that is happening in the city. You know, I'm always like, where are you getting the money? Yes, you're working, but where are you getting that kind of money? You know, because this thing with businessmen has become, this thing of using stuff has become so... And you'll be shocked that you will even find Christian men and women still using these things because money is something that people are after.
So what's the most ridiculous thing you've heard of there? Because me, it was the snakes, and I mean, it was at my place.
Well, it was the snakes as well. I've heard of the...
That you need to feed these snakes.
Of the snakes.
And money will keep on coming in.
Yeah, and apparently the money just comes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of the snakes.
No, Hector, you must Google that thing to find out where can we buy snakes.
Where can we get them?
Just to test it, just for a month.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
just
for a month. What if you can't get rid of it?
Maybe it's one of those that if you don't feed them, they eat you. You know, it might be one of those things. You know?
Oh my God.
But no, it'll be interesting. But one of the other things I wanted to speak of is you mentioned earlier that you can draft your antenuptial contract in such a way that suits you.
Yeah.
Right. So we've obviously, as a notary, I've had a lot of funny clauses and strange clauses that we've had to put inside. I think the strangest one was that they are married out of community of property, and they would mass their estates if they're married for 5 years. But if they get a divorce after that, and it's because the woman cheated, right, the guy gets everything. If they get divorced because the guy cheated, then the woman gets everything.
Oh wow!
He just gets to keep his car.
And that clause actually stands.
Well, we haven't tested it in court.
Yeah, because it's such a strange clause. I know South African law is a bit
tricky
on the clauses that we put on our contracts.
Yes,
they don't
because
just
it needs
allow
to
anything.
Contra bonus mores,
yes,
etc.
because of that.
But I've seen those, and I've seen a few fidelity clauses in even older contracts, right? And those divorces seem to have worked, where they would say that the commencement value would stay the same, but the amount that you would get out would be limited if you are the one that caused the breakup, right? Which I think is a fair clause.
I think that's fair, though.
You know, because if you're the one that's ending it, you shouldn't benefit.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And maybe in common law it would not work. But I think if it's in a contract like that, you know, maybe it's something that can fly.
to
No,
say
it's
that you
interesting.
need to, yeah, you know.
Because what courts have done away with this past couple of years, they've done away with anything that has to do with emotions, and they've totally tried to scrap those things out to say you really cannot say somebody must forfeit anything because of cheating or whatever, anything that has to do with emotions and stuff like that. Because when you get into relationships, you know that it's an emotional thing, and emotions, they come with the risk of your emotions being broken. So already as an adult, you know that you're getting in there with that risk, so already courts cannot sit now and discuss stuff like that, your emotions being hurt and but that is something that's interesting. I would
So you
love
could
to
do
see
it like
that.
Tiger Woods to say that for every woman you cheat with, give me 100,000.
Americans are crazy.
Why not?
Americans
As long
are
as she can prove
crazy.
that there was this person, or that there was this lady or this guy, you pay over.
Americans are crazy. They have clauses where, for every child I give birth to, I get
Yes,
500,000.
yes. No, I think that one's fine
I
because.
love that one. I love the one where I get 500,000 for giving birth.
But why? But why not?
Yes, why
You know?
not?
Because I remember when I went to go and pay damages. You need to pay because it takes a lot out of a woman, right? And you can say what you want, but you're not the same after.
Yeah. You're not the same.
You're not the same. You're not the same. So maybe it should be seen as damages. I think we can change the word.
Yeah.
But you need to contribute something to say, if you're gonna carry my child, so much.
Because
why not?
Once that is gone, nobody can bring it back from a woman, from our side.
Exactly.
Once you give birth, something about you has completely changed.
Exactly.
And there's no way that you can reverse it.
So here's
doesn't matter what you do.
I wouldn't call it compensation. I would call it, it's a gift.
Yeah. For a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift for a gift. Like, listen, you brought a new person into my family. Something I couldn't do by myself. Because one thing my family needs is girls. We've just had boys. So when the lobola comes, we'll be broke. So I need to get a daughter soon.
You need a girl.
I need a daughter.
So that you can have somebody coming in your house.
Yes, and it'll be expensive, just to be able to pay for all these brothers.
Don't do that, guys. Don't do that.
Why not?
No, I mean, you don't want kids. Other cultures, they don't do other races. They don't do this thing that we do. Which is taking so much money from the kids to a point where by the time they're starting their house or their home, they're broke because of lobola and wedding expenses and some cultures the parents pay for the wedding even. Maybe something that we also need to practice so that our kids.
Well, I am really for lobola in the sense that
yes, lobola, yes, but not expensive.
Well, not expensive, not cheap. That's relative, Okay. Because it might be 5,000 might be cheap to somebody, it might be expensive to somebody else, right? But for me, if anyone came to me and said they wanted to marry my daughter and they were having issues with lobola, I would be concerned.
Yeah,
I was like, listen, you've been dating this person for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
if you save just 2,000 a month,
yeah,
you've had enough. So it means you've not had foresight, just to save that type of money.
Yeah.
And I do not want someone with no foresight to be head of a household, involved in the household with my daughter. It just smacks of disaster, right?
Sure.
In addition to that, it's a nice way for us to meet other people that are not just the person that's marrying, right? Very important. So that if we have an issue, I know that, okay, Babalwa's got a son. If he messes up, I call Babal.
Yeah.
Say, hey, your son is doing 1, 2, 3 to my daughter here. Right? Can you please adjust him somehow?
Yeah.
But if I don't know you, I don't have that type of access to you. Without the lobola process, that doesn't happen. That's one of the beautiful parts of that. To say that we get to meet each other, we show foresight, we've planned for it, we wrote letters. It's something that's been a long time coming. It also prevent these marriages where people get married in 2 months after meeting each other. Then they realize 3 months later,
it's not the one. It's crazy.
But it happens. It happens all the time. So, lobola I'm for. And, hey, the more I paid for varsity, the more you're going to pay, my friend. I'm warning any young guys out there that, listen, if I have a daughter, you must, and you're dating, start saving from day one.
Oh, That's your duty to take her to school.
Yes, start saving from day
It's
one.
your duty to take her to school and make sure that she's a proper adult.
Yes,
by
I'll
the
do
time
that.
she leaves your hand, and the husband takes over.
Mm-hmm.
When he's there, he's not paying for what you have been doing, which you were supposed to have been doing.
True. But I'm certainly investing a major asset into his life. You know, and
You know now.
no, once I get a daughter,
Yeah.
once I get I think I'll probably have twins. Once off. Get a school discount there. It'll be a nice thing.
And if she marries a stay-at-home husband,
A what?
a stay-at-home husband,
What is that?
it's people that this is men that don't work and they're staying at home and doing
You know-
administration work at home.
You know when they say such things. Before Adam met Eve, he had a job, right? It was only after God realized that, listen, he can't do this alone. I need to find him a helpmeet. And then God made animals and stuff like that to try and help, and still realized that it can't work. But he had a job first.
Yeah.
And maybe this is how I made these guys angry. To say,
Yeah.
you need to do it. You need to. To be a stay-at-home husband is like, there's this guy that used to say that a man without ambition is like a woman without beauty.
Yeah.
What is attractive about you? You're staying at home. You're playing video games. There's no difference between you and my son.
Well, maybe he'll clean the yard and
Clean the yard. Well, if I'm a stay-at-home dad, right, you better be cleaning the yard, right? But he'll probably have a gardener, right? Probably have a gardener and a pool boy, and he's just sitting there eating.
managing.
Yeah, managing what? He'll manage himself. I think stay-at-home husband only happens when you retire, guys.
Ne?
That's when you retire. Then you can be a stay-at-home husband.
Because I also wonder, maybe to get into the other topic of submission, if then women would be able to, maybe people can also comment on this to say, are they able to submit? Would they be able to submit to a stay-at-home
How?
husband?
How?
But are we attaching submission to money?
No. We're not attaching submission to money. We are attaching submission to roles, right? And this is a role that he plays, and an essential factor or essential aspect of that role is to protect and provide, right? We can add other things. I mean, my list is longer. Some people list is shorter, but in our family code, we say that that I'll pursue my goals with diligence and not be a lazy man. I'll protect and progress my person, people, and property as best I can. And this is what oath we take when we're 7 years old.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the boys say, that I must pursue those goals. I must not be lazy, and I must protect and progress. I must move this forward.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm not playing that role, can I identify with the title of that role?
You cannot.
So if I say I am, like a lot of people say, they want to get married, but they don't want to be wives.
Yeah.
I want to get married, but I don't want to be husband.
Crazy.
I can be married to you, but am I a husband to you?
Yeah.
No, I'm married to you. I'm your spouse,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But if I'm not playing that role, then I'm not a husband.
You're not a husband.
Yes, even though I'm your spouse.
If you're not playing a wife role,
You're not a wife. You are married.
You're married to them, but you're not a
So
wife.
you have got the title, but you don't have the substance of that role.
Yeah.
Right. So if before you say a woman must submit to a man, she's not submitting to a man, she's submitting to a husband.
Yeah.
That's it. Because there's many men out there. Boyfriend's a man.
And exactly.
Fatin is a man.
I hope this boyfriend are listening. A boyfriend is a man.
A boyfriend is a man. It's not your
No
husband.
need for submission.
No. He's a man. He's a man. Right? That's all it is. Get a husband. Once he's your husband, yes, then we can talk about submission.
Yeah.
But then he needs to fulfill that role. Right? If he's not succeeding despite trying, maybe that's a different decision. But sitting at home by choice. Aye, guys. I'm sorry. If I've been retrenched, different story. If the industry I was in has disappeared, it's COVID, whatever, different story. But if I'm here by choice and I'm eating, what do stay-at-home men eat? They eat those soft. China, they've got a name for them. I think it's Kwanzaa. They call them soft rice eaters. Right? So soft rice eaters are the men that are there first to come and eat. Because the soft rice is the rice that's like in the middle.
Yeah.
The hard rice is the one at the bottom of the pot, right? So men usually come home late and they eat that hard bit of rice that's at the bottom of the pot.
Yeah.
Not the ones that are unemployable.
Ne.
They eat the soft rice. No, I think the Thai name is joke. That's soft watery rice that they feed to children and old people. No, guys, I'm sorry.
It's not gonna work, ne?
It
doesn't work.
It's not that it's just not going to work. Does it attract you?
No, me personally does not.
To say that he can be how handsome, he can be what.
I'm not even like.
Is it tough?
I'm not even bothered by handsome. It would not work. It would not work. And I'm very big on the role of a woman and the role of a man in a household. And I think my belief and my understanding of it is not mixed up. You know, I believe in a head, which is a man, you know, and that is the natural way of things.
It's the order,
It's the order of life. That is how God has set it to be. I don't think there is any mix up in. No, a woman can also be a head while there's a man. No. But now, as you are saying, I agree with you totally. The man has to then take up the role of playing what he's supposed to play.
Yes, you can't just...
And it cannot be just him having a deep voice and shouting. No. You know, it must be him in the role, in the position, doing what he's supposed to be doing in that position.
Yes.
Right. And I am a firm believer of women following their husbands.
If they play that role. Because I think what happens a lot is that women complain about why must I submit to him if he's not doing these things? Right? So it's very important not just to have the title, but to actually play that role. Say that I am doing the job, therefore I get these privileges, I get these roles, I get these advantages. And then the same with you as well. But if I'm not playing the role, no need to submit as far as I'm concerned.
It's very tricky. That's very tricky because, you know, as Christian women, we get taught that, you know, submission has nothing to do with provision. It becomes it sounds like a nice punchline.
Yes.
Submission has nothing to do with provision, you know. And you will hear an entire church saying, amen, it's facts, it's true, whatever. You know, because it's a thing of, you know, in a Christian home, you play a role of, you know, leadership in spiritual things and, you know, prayer, but it does not go as far as finances, you know, which maybe can be the downside of it when we are teaching Christian people on marriages and sustaining their marriages and maintaining their marriages, that everything is just spiritual, nobody's talking about the real things. You know, and we now find ourselves as Christian women okay with settling for a man who is just, you know,
just male,
who's just male and just there, just loud and forceful, and you're like, okay, it's okay because God.
No, I don't think that's the case, because one thing I always focus on is like the oldest book in the Bible was the book of Job. He wasn't a broke guy. You know, he had many things going for him, and he was favored, right? I think what a lot of people think about is that the rich young man that came to Jesus and they said, listen, sell everything. So that's when we think that, no, money is not important or money is a bad thing. No. After Job got better, it was even better.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, the blessings were like sevenfold.
Yeah.
Right? I think the point of the rich young man was that he was not willing to let go of earthly things in order to get the spiritual salvation.
Yeah.
Right? So for him, this was more important than that. For Job, it wasn't. It was exactly the opposite. Job was willing to say, I will not forsake, because that is more important to me than this. And that's why I was blessed with both. So I do think provision is an important thing. And I do not believe that being a Christian means that you don't have to have money, guys.
Oh, it doesn't mean that at all.
No.
We need to have money. It's scriptural to have money.
Yes, you must go. You must make it happen.
Yeah,
make it happen and enjoy it. You know, we're not here to suffer.
Not at all. Not at all.
So Hector included here. Have you seen ANC clauses with TV channel choice on weekends?
Have I seen?
So ANCs, prenups that stipulate that the first and second weekend of the month I will choose which TV channel.
No.
But I think that's important because
Why would people do that?
I'll tell you why. I've got two sons that are very different.
Yeah.
Right. And because there are many TVs in the house, they'll just disagree and then go into separate rooms.
Okay.
Right. And I tell them, no, that's
Don't
not
do
it.
that. Yeah.
Get into the same space where you can actually engage with each other and resolve the issue.
Yeah.
Because whenever you give people an option just to disengage, they start to live in separate lives slowly and surely. So if I have a TV in one room and you have a TV in another room, for instance, and we never have to engage with each other, you'll always be in your room and I'll always be in mine.
Yeah, and then you're spending time separately.
Yes, and then I'm
Definitely
watching
not.
different things from you. I'm getting doctor data differently. I'll end up being a different person. Then 5 years later, we realize that no, you are not the person that I remember because I haven't spent time with you.
Yeah.
So let's be together, right? Watch the same stuff. Let's try and sort it out. And then you realize that the relationship might be a bit stressed in the beginning because we need to dispute resolution needs to take place.
Yeah.
But because we have a mechanism now for dispute resolution, we have a stronger relationship.
Yeah.
But if our option is always to get out, we never get stronger. So Jordan Peterson says this thing that's quite important. Says when you get married, it's done.
Yeah.
Right? It's to say that I am married to you and I'm going to stick with you no matter what.
Yeah.
So whatever problem we're facing, we better solve it.
Yeah.
We better. Because I'm stuck with you. You're not leaving.
Yeah.
You're not leaving.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, we need to solve it out because the next 70 years we are spending together and I'm certainly not spending it together like this.
Yeah.
Let's sort it out.
So let's sort it out.
But what a lot of people do is say that if we can't sort it out, let's just leave. Right? And then divorce.
Yeah.
Done. We don't grow that way.
Which is why we have such a high number of people divorcing.
Yes, because of petty things or small things, we see it out.
85%.
It's terrible. We because it's too easy to leave.
It is.
But if we are together and we say, no matter what, Babalwa, me and you, we are doing this thing. Your breath smells.
Yeah.
But
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I think we need to remove all your teeth.
Yes.
And then get dentures. I'll wash them for you or whatever. I know that's but that's the type of thing we need to do to say, I'm gonna solve it.
Yeah.
And
but that boils down for me to decision. I think people get into these types of relationship, and I'm talking about marriage, without making a decision. And they go into it with, oh, I feel this way now. And I think that's a bad way of getting into a marriage, to say, oh, I feel so in love with him. I feel like I love him so much.
Now you're getting into my territory.
I don't see myself without this person. Like, can't breathe when he's not around. And you are lying, right?
So for me, for the longest time, I don't believe that sustaining a marriage is about love at all. It was very unromantic, and hey, this is gonna be life. It's fine. We have purpose, and we made a commitment.
Yeah,
and we will stick to that. Right.
I think that works.
As long as I'm doing my role, and you are doing your role, and that is the basis of the relationship, will work out. Because if it's based on feelings, I don't control them.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I wake up, I see.
You feel a different way.
I know. I go to Pick and Pay. I see a cashier.
Yeah.
That cashier had everything on fleek that day.
Yeah.
Now I feel a different type of way. Does it mean the relationship's over?
Yeah.
No. In order for a relationship to be sustainable, its foundation needs to be something that's not easily moved.
Yeah.
And if you put something and you build it on emotion, you're building it on sand.
Exactly.
And it can shift very easily. Regardless of how tall or how big your structure is, if it's on sand, it's going to shift, it's going to fall.
Yeah.
But if you're building it on that agreement of commitment, that listen, we are going to do this, right? And as long as we do this, and as far as we go, there will be love because we are doing this together.
Yes. And right? I think that is my biggest basis for marriage out of marital property, without the accrual system. I've always been for this, even when I was still a student in law and whatever. And I when I view marriage and people staying together, it's a decision of staying together, whether things are good or bad, right? These vows, these traditional vows that people make, are very important if we understand them. And if we understand them properly, we don't just repeat them because the preacher or the pastor is saying them that we must repeat. But if you understand the through thick and thin, and for better for worse,
Sickness and health.
and sickness and health, you take that as is and you apply it into the decision that you have made. Whether you are married in communal property or out without the cross, with the cross system, it won't matter, because you are not here for in and out. You're not here for assets either. That's why I said in the beginning that if people are kind, they'll be kind to one another, you know. People say marry a kind person or be with a kind person. It's very important. If people are kind to one another, whether things are good or bad, they will still be kind to each other. You will still consider your wife. You will still consider your husband. So for me, marrying out of communal property without the accrual system should not be a basis of feelings and whatever, because a person should be able to secure you even if you are married out of communal property, because they love you, because they've decided that you are the person that they want to do the next 70 years with. Right? Whether hell or storm comes, they will stick to that decision. So why should it matter if it's in communal property?
Yeah, that's good. But yes, I think, you need that strong foundation. And if you have that rich, poor, sickness and health, worse, etc., it'll work out.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you're saying that, no, as long as I love you.
Yeah, as long as I'm still in love.
As long as I'm in love with you, it's over. No, it's over. It's over. No, Babalwa, I think we've reached, more or less the end.
Yeah.
Of what we wanted to discuss. But, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming all the way through from Pretoria.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for your insights. I hope we can do this again.
Yes, we definitely will.
Hopefully with a few guys. And a few ladies. Maybe with a small panel just to discuss these type of things, because it would be nice to have very different points of view. And we need at least one slay queen and one stay-at-home husband.
Yeah. Where are we gonna find a stay-at-home husband?
No,
but I totally get you, because there's a lot that people still need to learn. There's a lot that I still need to learn as well. Maybe there's something that you also need to learn. And when we have these conversations and we have other people's views, we are giving each other time and a chance to, to get a little bit of knowledge.